Closing cost. Every real estate transaction has costs associated with them. However, not everyone knows what they entail. But not you, my friend. No. You landed on this video, and as such, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what they entail and how to calculate closing costs so that you're never caught off guard ever again. What's going on, everybody? My name is Vargas from the Vargas team, and welcome to another video. If you're thinking about buying real estate or you're in the process of buying real estate, then you must have come across the term closing costs, hence why you're watching this video. Now, closing costs are just fees associated with your home or real estate purchase that are usually paid at the time of closing. There are, of course, a few fees that are paid prior to closing, but more on that later. It's important to note that closing costs are separate from your down payment. So regardless of how much money you're going to be putting down, whether that's 3%, 20%, or even paying the full amount in cash, you will still incur closing costs for the purchase. Which brings me to my next point. The amount of closing costs that are going to be charged to you and the specific charges are going to vary widely on where you live, the type of property that you buy, and whether you're financing or buying that property in cash. So to not drive all of you crazy and to make my life easier, in this video, I will be discussing the closing costs associated with financing a home purchase because that seems to be the most common. Oh, and for all of my viewers out there that are in a hurry and just don't care to know each and every single cost associated with the home purchase, but rather just want to know a ballpark figure that they can use to estimate closing costs, a rough estimate is about 3% of the purchase price. So there you have it. If you were just watching this video for that specific information alone, there it is. You're now free to go. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more weekly content like this one. And to everybody else who stayed, thank you so much. Now let's continue. Now, here's how that rough estimate of around 3% is going to break down. For one, you have your lender's fees. Now, lender's fees tend to make up a large portion of your closing costs, so I thought we should start with this first because, again, this is going to be the bulk of the fees. What are those lender fees, you may ask? Well, to begin with, you have your application fee, which is the fee that they're going to charge you to process your loan application. Secondly, you have your loan origination fee, which is the lender's compensation fee for executing the loan. Then you have your credit report fee, which is to run your credit, of course. And then there's an underwriter fee, which is the fee that the underwriter is going to charge or the lender is going to charge for the underwriter to assess your credit worthiness. There may be some other lender fees that I'm not going to be referring to in this video, such as your PMI, better known as your private mortgage insurance, but that's really just going to depend on your down payment. I made a video that goes a little bit into more detail on PMI, which I'll link up here in case you're interested. So after your lender fees, you're going to have another section or category of fees, and these fees are usually associated with the property. So to begin with, you have your inspection fee, which is usually the cost to hire a professional company to inspect the property. After which, you're going to have an appraisal fee, which is a third-party company selected by the lender or the bank to assess the value of the property. And then you have your homeowner's insurance, which of course is going to cover possible damages on your home. And most of the time, and in most instances, they will require your homeowner's insurance to be paid for 1 year in full at the time of closing. Earlier, I said that some fees are paid before closing, and the two most common fees that I've seen that are paid prior to closing are usually your inspection fee and your appraisal fee, which in many cases, you'll have to come out of pocket and pay prior to the closing date. Now, in some instances, you don't pay them prior to closing, and your title company will just include them on the closing statement. But from my experience, most of the time, people just pay them before. That's just an FYI. The next set of fees are usually going to be in more relation to the title of the property. So your title company is going to charge a title and lien search fee, which will uncover any issues with the transfer of title and any possible unpaid liens on the property. Super important, by the way. And then you also have a survey fee, which is to confirm the property's boundary lines and to make sure that there are no encroachments present on the property. You also have taxes, so any prepaid taxes or proration of taxes in relation to the property are going to be paid at the time of closing. And lastly, you have your legal and processing fees. Now, these fees are going to vary depending on your title company and your real estate attorney that you use, but most title companies and real estate attorneys are going to charge some sort of legal and or processing fee for the transaction. One very important item to take into account. The party who is going to be responsible for these fees and the closing costs can always be negotiated at the time of executing the contract. Each state has their own custom as to who pays what, but ultimately this can always be negotiated. So can you as a buyer have no closing costs? Well, yes, it is possible for the seller to pay all of your closing costs. But again, there is no such thing as a free lunch, so someone is going to be footing that bill. The question is, who is that going to be? As to a general cost perspective as to each section and each category, that amount is going to vary widely as there's so many variables for you to consider. But the best course of action for this would be to contact your lender or your title company so that they could provide you with the fees and the exact figures for each category. But at the very least, now you know exactly what you should be looking for. Guys, consider subscribing to my channel for more weekly real estate content just like this one. And do me a huge favor and tap that like button and share this video with somebody if you found value and who you think could find value from this video as well. And if you didn't find value and you hated this video, then tap that dislike button twice, but make sure you do it 2 times to let us know how you truly feel. And to everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, until next time.